For centuries, indigenous peoples across North America faced temperatures that dropped to -40, sometimes colder. They lived on wind-swept plains where trees were scarce and firewood was basically non-existent. Modern heating didn't exist. Insulated homes didn't exist. Yet somehow, entire communities not only survived but thrived through winters that would kill most of us in days. This is the true story of how they did it. Real quick before we start, if you find yourself coming back to these, a like or subscribe genuinely helps. Also, I'm always curious where everyone's listening from and what time it is there. Drop a comment with your city and the time. Last video, someone from Norway commented at 3 AM their time, and I'm still thinking about that. We're heading to the Great Plains in a minute. First though, get comfortable. Seriously, take a second, adjust whatever needs adjusting. You're not going to want to move once we start. Your eyes open. That's the first mistake. The air inside the teepee hits your face like a slap. Not the gentle cold you get when you crack a window in your heated bedroom. This is different. This is the kind of cold that makes your lungs hurt when you breathe in too fast. The kind that reaches through the buffalo hide covering you and finds every gap, every opening, every place where your body heat tries to escape. It's late October, 1658, somewhere on the endless grasslands of what will one day be called South Dakota. But right now, it's just home, and home is freezing. Your little fox, 16 winters old, which makes you basically an adult by Lakota standards. Though at this exact moment, buried under layers of bison hide with your little sister laughing water curled up against your side like a heat-seeking puppy, you feel about 6 years old and absolutely not ready to face the day. The thing is, yesterday wasn't like this. Yesterday you could walk around in just a leather shirt. Yesterday the sun actually felt warm on your face. Yesterday felt like summer might stick around a little longer. Nature doesn't give warnings on the Great Plains. It just shows up and kicks your door in. You can hear your father, running elk, already moving around near the fire pit in the centre of the teepee. The man is basically part bear. He's up before dawn every single day. Doesn't matter if it's summer or if it's cold enough to freeze your spit before it hits the ground. Which, yeah, it basically is. Little fox. Your mother's voice brings dawn, cuts through the semi-darkness. She's not yelling. She doesn't have to. That tone means get up or I'm dumping cold water on you. And trust me, nobody wants cold water in this temperature. You peel back the top layer of hide, instantly regret it. Sweet mother of, okay, yeah, this is not great. Your breath comes out in clouds, thick clouds, the kind where you can blow a little dragon puff and watch it hang in the air like a ghost. Back when you were little, this was fun. Now it means the temperature dropped hard overnight, and hard means danger. The fire in the centre is barely going. Your father's adding small twigs, nursing it back to life. He's doing it slowly, carefully, because starting from cold coals is an art. Rush it and you'll snuff it out. Take your time and you'll freeze while you wait. It's this delicate dance he's done 1,000 times. Around the perimeter of the teepee, you can see the inner lining of thin buffalo hide that hangs about a foot off the ground. Your grandmother, Wintersong, sewed that lining herself last spring. At the time, you didn't really get why it was such a big deal. Now you do. That gap between the outer wall and the inner lining, that's not a design flaw. That's genius. Cold air seeps in under the outer hide, sure, but instead of blasting straight into your face while you sleep, it gets caught in that gap. Then it rises, mixing with the warm air from the fire, and flows up and out through the smoke hole at the top. It's like a chimney inside a chimney. The teepee basically breathes. You learned this from your grandmother. She knows everything about winter survival, knows it in her bones the way you know how to walk without thinking about it. Laughing Water, your 8-year-old sister, is somehow still asleep. The girl could sleep through a stampede. Her little face is pressed against your shoulder, mouth open, drooling slightly. Gross, but also kind of sweet in that annoying little sister way. Up, now. Your mother again. She's not messing around today. You finally sit up fully. The cold wraps around your shoulders like a very aggressive hug from someone you didn't want to hug you. Your bones feel stiff. Your joints crack when you move. This is what winters do to people out here. They reach inside you and squeeze. Unlike your soft, warm bed right now, wherever you are, your thick comforter, your heated room, your ability to just not deal with temperatures that want to murder you. Yeah, modern life is pretty sweet. You're wearing basically everything you wore to bed. Leather leggings, a long shirt made of soft deerskin, and over that, a thicker outer shirt. Your moccasins are right next to your sleeping spot, dried from yesterday, ready to go. You learned the hard way last winter that you never, ever take off your moccasins without having them within arm's reach. Frozen feet aren't just uncomfortable, they're deadly. Your grandmother is already up too, sitting near the fire, working on something with her hands. Always working. She's got to be at least 60 winters old, which out here is basically ancient. Most people don't make it that long. But Winter Song, she's made of something tougher than the rest of us. The wind changed last night, she says, without looking up. Her fingers keep moving, sorting through a basket of what looks like dried plant material. Came from the north. Brought the cold with it. Your father grunts in agreement. First real cold snap of the season. We need to start preparing. By preparing, he means everything. Moving the camp to a more sheltered location, reinforcing the teepees, gathering enough dried bison dung to last through blizzards. Checking everyone's winter clothing, making sure the food supplies are properly stored. It's basically a full-time job for the next 2 weeks. And this is the good part. This is when you still have time to prepare. Wait too long and the snow comes. Then you're stuck with whatever you manage to gather. Then it becomes a game of rationing and hoping. The fire starts to build. Small flames lick at the new wood. The heat spreads slowly, reluctantly, like it's not sure it wants to commit to warming up this cold space. But it does. It always does. Fire is life out here. Little fox, your grandmother says, finally looking up at you. Her eyes are sharp, like scary sharp. She can spot a lie from across the camp. Today, you learn about cattails. Cattails, right. You've seen them growing along the rivers and streams. Tall plants with those weird brown sausage-looking things on top. You always figured they were just plants, stuff that grows and doesn't really matter. Turns out they matter a lot. Cattails will keep you alive this winter, Winter Song continues. Her voice has that quality that means pay attention or you're gonna regret it later. The fluff inside those brown heads, that's warmth. Light as air, but warmer than anything else we have. Your mother is moving around now, stirring something in a hide pot near the fire. Probably pemmican stew. Pemmican is this mixture of dried bison meat pounded into a powder, mixed with melted fat and sometimes dried berries. It tastes like survival, which is to say, it tastes like you're grateful to have it, but you wouldn't eat it if you had literally any other option. But here's the thing, you don't have other options. Not in winter. Not on the plains. The stew starts to warm up. The smell fills the teepee. It's not a bad smell exactly. It's just very present. Meat and fat and that slightly smoke-cured tang that everything has out here. Outside, you can hear other families starting to move around in their teepees. The whole camp is waking up to the same realization. Winter just arrived ahead of schedule, and we better get our stuff together fast. After we eat, your grandmother says, we go to the river. There are cattails there, thick ones. We'll collect as much as we can carry. Your father looks up from the fire. I'll take some men to scout the winter camping ground. We need to move within the week. A week? 7 days to pack up everything, move dozens of families with all their belongings, and set up a completely new camp in a more sheltered location. Sounds impossible, right? It's not. You've done it every year of your life. The Lakota are nomadic for a reason. Staying put means dying. Moving means surviving. It's that simple. Laughing Water finally stirs. She makes this little groaning sound that's equal parts adorable and pathetic. Is it cold? She mumbles. No, you lie. It's super warm, like summer. She opens one eye, glares at you. You're a terrible liar. Fair. She sits up and immediately her face goes through this whole journey. Confusion, realization, horror, acceptance. It's like watching someone process their own death in 5 seconds. I don't like winter, she announces. Nobody asked you, you reply. Children, your mother says in that warning tone. The one that means knock it off or I'll make you haul water all day. You both shut up. Water hauling in winter is the worst job. The river starts to get ice chunks in it, and you have to break through the surface layer to fill the containers, and your hands go numb, and it's just a nightmare all around. The stew is ready. Your mother ladles it into wooden bowls. It's hot, which is the main selling point. The fat in the pemmican sits on top in little pools, and you're supposed to drink that first because fat equals calories equals warmth equals staying alive. You drink it, burns your tongue a little, don't care. Warmth is warmth. Today we also need to check the bison chips pile, your father says between bites. Make sure it's dry and covered. Bison chips, otherwise known as dried bison dung, otherwise known as the main fuel source out here because, surprise, there aren't exactly trees everywhere. The massive bison herds that roam these plains drop their dung constantly, let it dry in the sun for a week or two, and boom, you've got fuel. Sounds gross? Yeah, it kind of is. But when the alternative is freezing to death, you get over it real quick. The weird thing about bison chips is they actually burn pretty well. They smolder more than blaze, which is perfect for inside a teepee. They don't throw sparks like wood does. The smoke isn't too bad. Kind of smells like dry grass. And they're everywhere. Free fuel, infinite supply, just lying around waiting to be collected. Your grandmother taught you how to tell which ones are the best. The older, drier ones burn longer. The ones from fall bison, when they've been eating dried grass and plums, those are premium. The pits from the plums make the chips burn hotter and longer. It's like having different grades of firewood, except it's all poop. Modern problems, modern solutions, except these solutions are about 500 years old. After breakfast, you help your mother pack up the bowls and clean the fire area. Your father heads out to round up the other men for the scouting trip. Your little sister is tasked with staying with the other children and basically not dying while the adults work. That leaves you and your grandmother. Come, Wintersong says, grabbing 2 large woven baskets. The cattails won't wait. You follow her out of the teepee. The moment you step outside, the wind hits you. And I mean hits you, like getting punched by invisible fists. The prairie wind doesn't play around. There's nothing to stop it out here. No mountains, no forests, nothing. Just flat land and grass and you. Your leather clothing helps, but it's not perfect. Cold finds a way. It always finds a way. The sky is this pale, washed-out blue, the kind of sky that means winter is settling in. No more of those deep blue summer skies. This is survival sky. This is we're all in this together, or we're all dead sky. Your grandmother walks with purpose. She always walks with purpose. At 60 plus winters, she's forgotten more about survival than most people ever learn. Her hair, which used to be pure black, is now streaked with grey. She wears it in 2 long braids down her back. You see those clouds? She points north. More cold coming, maybe snow. You look. Yeah, there are clouds building up on the horizon. Thick, heavy-looking clouds, the kind that mean business. We have maybe 3 days, she continues, before the first snow. We need to move camp and gather supplies before then. 3 days. That's not a lot of time. The camp is stirring to life now. Families emerging from their teepees, assessing the cold, making plans. Everyone knows what this means. You can see it in how people move, how they talk to each other. There's an urgency now. Summer's easy living is over. The river is about a 15-minute walk from camp. It's one of the reasons this spot was chosen for the autumn camp. Close to water, close to hunting grounds, but not too exposed to weather. In winter, you move to the sheltered valleys where the wind can't reach you as easily. As you walk, your grandmother starts talking. She does this, uses walks as teaching moments. Your grandfather, she says, died in a winter like this, not from cold, from not respecting the cold. You wait. She'll get to the point. He thought he could make a quick hunt, didn't layer his clothing properly, got caught in a sudden storm. They found him 2 days later, frozen. The message is clear. Winter doesn't care about your plans. Winter doesn't care about your confidence. Winter kills you if you give it half a chance. So we prepare, she continues. We gather, we layer, we work together. Because alone, you die. Together, we survive. This is basically the Lakota winter survival motto. Community over individual. Always. The river comes into view. And yeah, there they are. Cattails, thousands of them, growing thick along the banks. Those brown, cylinder-shaped seed heads are everywhere. And in this light, with the cold morning sun hitting them, they almost glow. Now, your grandmother says, setting down her basket, I show you how we collect warmth. And that's when you realise this winter is going to be one for the stories. Your grandmother reaches up and grabs one of those brown cattail heads. She twists it gently, and the whole thing comes off in her hand like it was waiting for her. Watch, she says. She pulls the brown casing apart, and holy, the inside just explodes into this cloud of white fluff. It's everywhere, in the air, on her hands, floating down the river. It looks like someone shook out a pillow made of clouds. This, Winter Song says, holding up a handful of the stuff, weighs almost nothing, but pack it into your moccasins, between layers of clothing, inside the walls of the teepee, you'll stay warmer than with anything else. You reach out and touch it. It's so light it barely feels real. Like touching air that somehow has texture. The strands are silky, almost slippery between your fingers. How much do we need, you ask? She looks at you with that expression that means you just asked a stupid question. How much winter are we having? Right, dumb question. The answer is as much as you can possibly gather. We'll fill both baskets today, she continues. Tomorrow we bring more people, more baskets. By the time we move camp, everyone needs their clothing restuffed, their sleeping furs reinforced, everything prepared. She hands you a cattail head. Try it. You grab one and twist. Nothing happens. You twist harder. Still nothing. You're basically wrestling a plant at this point, which is embarrassing. Gently, your grandmother says. Not mocking, just correcting. It'll come when it's ready. You try again, softer this time. The head twists off cleanly. Success feels good, even when it's just picking a plant. You pull it apart the way she did. The fluff bursts out and instantly the wind catches it. Half of it blows away before you can even register what happened. Hold it low, Wintersong instructs. Close to the basket. The wind is not your friend out here. You crouch down, tear open another one close to the basket. This time most of it actually makes it in. Progress. For the next hour, it's just you and your grandmother working in silence mostly, picking cattails and filling baskets. The work is weirdly soothing. Reach, twist, tear, collect. Reach, twist, tear, collect. Your fingers get sticky from the plant sap, but it's not terrible. Other women from the camp start showing up. Brings Dawn, your mother, arrives with her own baskets, then Redbird, your aunt, then Quiet Stream and her daughter Morning Dew, who's about your age and makes your stomach do weird things whenever she's around. Morning Dew catches you looking. Smiles. You immediately become very focused on cattails. Little Fox is learning the women's work, Redbird teases. She's your father's sister, and she never misses a chance to give you grief. Little Fox is learning survival, your grandmother corrects. Her tone isn't harsh, but it's firm. Gender doesn't matter when winter comes. Dead is dead. Redbird nods, chastened. Wintersong has that effect on people. The baskets fill slowly but steadily. The fluff compresses when you pack it down, so you can fit way more than you'd think. Each basket ends up weighing maybe 5 pounds when it's full, which is wild considering how much volume it takes up. This time last year, your mother says, working next to you. The cold didn't come until mid-November. We had another month of good weather. Winter does what it wants, Wintersong replies. We adapt. That's basically the Great Plains philosophy right there. You can't control the weather? You can't control when the bison move? You can't control when the cold comes? All you can control is how you respond. Your little sister shows up eventually, dragging a basket that's way too big for her. Laughing Water is nothing if not ambitious. I'm helping, she announces. You're 8, you point out. So, fair point. You were gathering cattails when you were 8 too. Everyone works. Everyone contributes. That's how this whole thing works. She grabs a cattail head and immediately gets smacked in the face by Fluff when she tears it open. The entire cloud just explodes directly into her nose and mouth. She sputters, spits, waves her hands around. Everyone laughs. Even Wintersong cracks a smile, which is rare. Maybe start with the smaller ones, your mother suggests, trying not to laugh too hard. Laughing Water glares at the cattail like it personally insulted her. I hate winter. Winter doesn't care, you reply, echoing your grandmother's earlier lesson. By mid-morning, you've got 4 full baskets. Your fingers are tired, your back hurts from crouching, and you've got cattail fluff stuck in places you didn't know cattail fluff could reach. But it's good work. Necessary work. Tomorrow, Wintersong announces, we gather dried grass. The day after, we check everyone's winter clothing. Then we move. The timeline is aggressive but necessary. Snow could come any day now. You can feel it in the air, taste it in the wind. Winter is circling, waiting. On the walk back to camp, Morning Dew ends up walking next to you. This is either very good or very bad. You can't tell yet. Your grandmother is scary, she says. Yeah, you agree, but that's why we're all still alive. My grandmother was the same way before she died last winter. You remember that? Frostwalker. She'd been sick for months, got worse when the cold came, didn't make it to spring. It happens. It happens a lot, actually. I'm sorry, you say, because what else can you say? Morning Dew shrugs. She taught me everything first. How to sew winter clothing, how to judge snow depth, how to read the wind. So she's not really gone, just different. That's pretty much how the Lakota view death. You don't really leave, you just change form. Your knowledge stays with the living. You want to help with the grass gathering tomorrow? You ask. Smooth, little fox, real smooth. But she smiles. Sure, but if you get fluff in your face like your sister, I'm going to laugh. That's fair. Back at camp, things are moving fast. Men are returning from scouting the winter location. They've found a good spot. A valley about 2 days' walk west, protected by low hills on 3 sides, close to a river that doesn't completely freeze, near a forest where firewood is available. 2 days, that means packing everything, disassembling all the teepees, moving every family with all their possessions, children, elders, supplies, everything. It sounds impossible until you remember you've been doing this your entire life. Your father gathers everyone for a meeting. The whole camp, maybe 60 people total, crowds around the central area. We move in 3 days, Running Elk announces. The weather is coming faster than expected. We need to be settled before the first snow. Everyone nods. They know the drill. Today and tomorrow we gather and prepare. 3rd day we pack and move. The journey will take 2 full days with the elders and children. We'll camp 1 night on the trail. Camping between locations is always risky. You're exposed, vulnerable. But there's no choice. The winter camp is good, Running Elk continues. Strong trees and his scouting party confirmed it. Water, wood, shelter from the north wind. We'll be safe there. Safe is relative. Safer is more accurate. Winter kills people every year, but a good camp location significantly improves your odds. The meeting breaks up. Everyone knows their jobs. The men will start organising the transportation, which dogs pull, which travois, how to arrange the loads for balance. The women will prepare the food supplies and begin packing non-essential items. The elders will work on repairing winter gear. The children will help wherever they're needed and try not to die. You spend the afternoon helping your father reinforce the teepee poles. The wood needs to be checked for cracks, weak spots, anything that might fail when reassembled at the new camp. A broken pole in a snowstorm isn't just inconvenient, it can kill everyone inside. You did well today, your father says, not looking up from his work. Learning from your grandmother? Lakota men don't throw around compliments. Getting one means you actually did something right. She's tough, you reply. She survived the winter of 1641, he says. The long dark, 3 months of constant storms, half the tribe died. She was younger than you are now. You knew your grandmother was tough, but hearing it laid out like that, yeah, she's basically made of iron and spite. How did she survive? Knowledge, preparation, and refusing to give up. He tests a pole, finds it solid, moves to the next one. Same way we all survive. The sun is starting to drop toward the horizon, already getting dark earlier. Winter days are short, which means less time to work, less time to hunt, more time huddled in the teepee trying to stay warm. That night, dinner is bison stew again. You're starting to understand why pemmican was invented. It's basically the only way to preserve meat long enough to survive winter. Fresh meat goes bad. Pemmican lasts years. Tomorrow, your mother says to you and Laughing Water, you both help gather grass. We need enough to restuff all the walls, all the clothing, everything. Grass gathering is somehow even more tedious than cattail gathering. At least cattails have that satisfying explosion of fluff. Grass is just grass. You cut it, bundle it, dry it, store it. For hours. But the science behind it is actually pretty smart. The hollow stems of prairie grass create thousands of tiny air pockets. Air doesn't conduct heat well, so those pockets act as natural insulation. Pack enough grass between layers of buffalo hide, and you've basically got ancient bubble wrap. You learned this from Winter Song during one of her teaching moments. Heat retention beats heat generation, always. Better to keep the warmth you have than try to make more. That's why Lakota winter survival focuses so heavily on insulation and layering rather than just building bigger fires. Fire requires fuel, which requires collection, which requires energy and time. Insulation just works, silently, constantly. After dinner, your grandmother pulls out what she's been working on all day. It's a pair of moccasins, winter ones, thick and tall, coming up almost to the knee. For you, she says, tossing them to you. You catch them. They're heavier than your summer moccasins, made from thicker buffalo hide. But when you look inside, there's already a layer of cattail fluff packed in. Try them. You slip off your current moccasins and slide into the winter ones. They're snug but not tight. And warm. Actually warm, even though you're just sitting by the fire. The fluff fills the space between your foot and the leather, Winter Song explains, traps your body heat, keeps the cold out. You can walk through snow deeper than your knees and stay dry and warm. Thank you, you say, and you mean it. She waves it off. You'll make a pair for someone else someday. That's how this works. That's actually how everything works in Lakota society. Reciprocity. You receive, you give. No one survives alone. Everyone needs everyone else. The fire burns low. People start heading to their sleeping spots. Your father banks the coals, covering them with ash so they'll smoulder through the night and be easy to restart in the morning. You lie down on your sleeping area, pull the buffalo hide over you, feel laughing water curl up against your side again. She's already asleep, the lucky little terror. Outside, the wind picks up. You can hear it sliding over the teepee, feel it pushing against the buffalo hide walls. But inside, with the fire banked and everyone together, it's almost comfortable. Almost. Your grandmother's voice cuts through the darkness. 3 more days like this, and we'll be settled for winter. Then it's just 6 months of not dying. That's encouraging, your mother replies, voice dry. I'm not here to encourage. I'm here to keep you alive. Fair enough. You close your eyes. Tomorrow's another day of gathering, then packing, then the move, then setting up, then winter for real. But tonight, you're warm, you're fed, your family is alive and together. Out here, that's basically winning. The last thing you hear before sleep takes you is the wind. Constant and cold, reminding everyone that nature owns this land. You're just borrowing it, temporarily, and only if you're smart enough to survive. Morning comes way too early, again. You're starting to notice a pattern here. Cold mornings make you want to stay buried under buffalo hide forever. But Winter Song is already up, already moving, already expecting you to be functional. Grass, she says. One word, that's all you get. You drag yourself up. Your new winter moccasins are right where you left them, and when you slip them on, they're still warm from your body heat yesterday. That's actually kind of amazing. Laughing Water is already awake, braiding her hair. She's learned that loose hair in wind is a nightmare, so she keeps it tight against her head. Smart kid when she wants to be. I'm coming with you today, she announces. Great, you reply. More hands. More complaining, your mother corrects, but she's smiling. Breakfast is the same pemmican stew. You're going to be so sick of this by the end of winter, but right now, while it's hot and your stomach is empty, it's perfect. Your father and the other men are already out, working on the travois frames. These are basically sleds that dogs pull, made of 2 long poles connected by a platform. Every family has at least 2 or 3. When you move camp, everything goes on the travois, and I mean everything. After eating, you head out with your grandmother, your mother, Laughing Water, and Morning Dew is there too, along with about a dozen other women and kids. Grass gathering is a group project. The prairie grass is already turning brown, drying out for winter. Perfect timing. You want it dry. Wet grass is useless for insulation and will rot inside your clothing. Redbird, your aunt, brought cutting tools. They're basically sharpened stones hafted to wooden handles. Not fancy, but they work. We need enough to fill 20 baskets, your grandmother announces. Maybe more. 20 baskets of grass. You do the math. That's a lot of grass. Why so much? Laughing Water asks. Because, Winter Song explains, every piece of winter clothing needs restuffing. Every wall in every teepee needs new insulation. Every sleeping area needs fresh padding. And we won't get another chance once the snow comes. So yeah, 20 baskets, at least. You grab a cutting tool and get to work. The technique is simple. Grab a handful of grass, cut it near the base, bundle it, set it aside. Repeat approximately 10,000 times. Morning Dew works next to you. She's faster at this than you are, which is mildly embarrassing. You're slow, she observes. You're mean, you reply. I'm efficient. She's got you there. The work is repetitive. Cut, bundle, set aside. Cut, bundle, set aside. Your hands start cramping after the first hour. By hour 2, you're basically numb to it. But here's the thing about repetitive work. It gives you time to think and talk. So, Morning Dew says, not looking up from her cutting. You scared about the move? No, you lie. Liar. Okay, yeah, you're a little scared. Moves are dangerous. Someone always gets hurt. Last year, an elder fell and broke his hip during the journey. Didn't make it through winter. The year before that, a child wandered off and got lost. They found her, but it took hours, and she nearly froze. I'm cautious, you correct, not scared. Same thing, she says, grinning. Your grandmother appears out of nowhere, which she's weirdly good at. Fear is useful, keeps you alert. It's overconfidence that kills. Morning Dew jumps slightly. Do you just materialize whenever someone's talking about survival? Winter Song smiles. Yes. Over the next few hours, the baskets fill. The pile of bundled grass grows. Your back starts hurting from bending over constantly. This is what survival looks like. Not heroic fights with enemies or dramatic hunts, just hours and hours of tedious preparation. Your little sister gets bored around noon and starts making grass dolls instead of cutting grass. Your mother catches her, gives her the look, and suddenly Laughing Water is very focused on work again. When I was your age, your grandmother says to no one in particular, we had half the time to prepare. The cold came overnight. Many people died that winter. The long dark, you say, remembering what your father mentioned. Yes. She pauses in her cutting. 3 months of constant storms. We ran out of food by the 2nd month, started eating the dogs. Then the leather from old teepees. By the end, we were eating boiled moccasins. Everyone stops working. This is the kind of story Winter Song doesn't usually tell. 40 people went into that winter in our band, she continues. 20 came out. I lost my mother, my 2 brothers, and my first daughter. The silence is heavy. You knew your grandmother had lost family, but hearing it stated so plainly. That's why we prepare, she says, getting back to work. That's why we take nothing for granted. That's why we work until our hands bleed if we have to, because winter doesn't negotiate. Message received. Cut faster. By mid-afternoon, you've got 15 baskets filled and lined up. 5 more to go. Redbird starts teaching the younger kids a song while they work. It's one of those rhythmic songs that matches the cutting motion, makes the work go faster when everyone's in sync. The song is about a rabbit who thought he was too smart for winter, didn't prepare, didn't gather food, just played all autumn. Then winter came and the rabbit froze to death. The moral is pretty clear. Don't be an idiot. Lakota children's songs are hardcore. Around you the prairie stretches endlessly. Brown grass, grey sky, that flat horizon that goes on forever. This land doesn't care about you. It's beautiful, sure, but beauty doesn't keep you warm. Morning dew nudges you. Your sister's eating grass. You look over. Yep, laughing water is chewing on a piece of grass like it's food. Stop that, you call over. Why? Bison eat it. You're not a bison. How do you know? Your mother intercepts before this gets weirder. Laughing water. Work now. Philosophy later. The baskets eventually fill, all 20 of them. Your hands are cramping, your back is screaming, and you've got grass stuck in your hair, your clothes, probably your soul at this point. Good work, Winter Song says. Tomorrow we prepare the clothing, the day after we move. Tomorrow, the last day before the move. On the walk back to camp, you end up next to morning dew again. This keeps happening. You're not complaining, but it's definitely a pattern. My father says the winter camp is near a forest, she mentions. Real trees, pine. That's good, firewood, and protection from wind. She shifts the basket she's carrying. My family is nervous. Last winter was hard. Last winter was hard for everyone. The cold came early, stayed late. Food supplies ran low by February. People got sick. Some died. This winter will be different, you say, trying to sound confident. Maybe, or maybe worse. Cheerful, but honest. Back at camp, the preparation is intense. Men are checking every travoy, every rope, every tie-down. Women are sorting supplies, deciding what's essential and what can be left behind. Kids are running around helping where they can and causing chaos everywhere else. Your father waves you over. Need your help. He's working on the teepee poles, bundling them for transport. Each bundle has to be carefully arranged so the weight is balanced on the travoy. These 4 go together, he says, showing you the pattern. Too many and the dogs can't pull it. Too few and we waste space. You help him tie the bundles. The rope is made from twisted buffalo sinew, strong as anything modern, really. The Lakota figured out how to make use of literally every part of the bison. Meat for food, hide for shelter and clothing, sinew for rope, bones for tools, even the bladder for water storage. Nothing wasted, everything useful. Little fox, Running Elk says after a while. You're getting stronger. Next year, you'll be ready for the winter hunt. The winter hunt, that's when the men track bison through the snow, using snowshoes to move across drifts while the heavy animals struggle. It's dangerous, but it's also how you get fresh meat in the dead of winter. I'm ready now, you say. He looks at you, really looks at you, then nods. Maybe you are. That's basically a declaration of manhood right there. You try not to let it show how much that means to you. Evening comes, the temperature drops even further. Your breath comes out in thick clouds now, even inside the teepee with the fire going. Dinner is different tonight. Your mother made something special, baked prairie turnips with fat and herbs. It's still survival food, but it's good survival food, the kind you actually want to eat rather than just forcing down. Tomorrow, your grandmother announces, we check and repair all winter clothing, everyone's, every piece. If something needs fixing, we fix it. If something needs replacing, we replace it. Your mother pulls out the family's winter gear. It's a substantial pile, multiple layers for everyone, outer robes, inner shirts, leggings, mittens, hats, all of it. The layering system is pretty genius when you break it down. You've got the base layer against your skin, thin, soft leather that's been worked until it's almost like fabric. This layer absorbs sweat and wicks it away from your body. Wet skin freezes fast, so this matters. Over that you wear the regular clothing. Thicker leather shirts and leggings, loose fitting so there's airspace between the layers. That trapped air is your insulation. Then comes the outer layer, big heavy robes made from whole buffalo hides with the fur still on, worn fur side in. The fur creates thousands of air pockets and the thick leather exterior blocks wind completely. For the feet you've got your new winter moccasins stuffed with cattail fluff. For the hands, mittens made from buffalo hide lined with rabbit fur. For the head, hats made from beaver or otter because their fur is dense and water resistant. Your grandmother inspects each piece like she's looking for crimes. She finds a small tear in your mother's outer robe. "This will grow," she says. "Needs stitching now." She pulls out sinew thread and a bone needle. Within minutes, she's got it repaired. The old woman's hands never stop moving. "You see this?" she says, holding up the robe. "The fur on the inside is not just for warmth, it also stays drier than the outside. If snow gets on you, it melts on the leather exterior, not on the fur touching your skin." "Smart," Morning Dew says. She's here with her family for the clothing inspection. Apparently, this is a community event. Not smart, Wintersong corrects. Necessary. Smart is a luxury. This is survival. She moves to Laughing Water's winter clothing. The girl is drowning in it. She'll grow into it probably by midwinter. Too big is better than too small, your grandmother declares. Too small and she can't layer, can't move. Circulation gets cut off. Frostbite. Frostbite is no joke. You've seen what it does. Fingers and toes turn black, then fall off. Sometimes people lose whole hands or feet. And that's if they survive at all. "Everyone try on your full winter kit," Wintersong orders. "Everything. I want to see it all." The teepee becomes chaos. Everyone's pulling on layers, fumbling with ties, adjusting fits. You get your base layer on, then your regular clothes, then the outer robe. With the new moccasins, mittens, and a beaver fur hat your father made last winter, you're basically a walking insulation factory. And you know what? You're warm. Actually, genuinely warm. The cold air inside the teepee isn't reaching you anymore. "Good," your grandmother says, inspecting you. "Now take it all off and pack it properly. Tomorrow we travel light. The day after, we'll need all of this." You strip back down to regular clothes. The cold hits you again immediately. That contrast really drives home how effective the layering is. Before bed, your father pulls you aside. "Tomorrow might be your last easy day for 6 months, he says. "The move will be hard. Winter will be harder. You ready? You think about it. Are you ready? No one's ever really ready for a Great Plains winter, but you've been training for this your whole life." "Yeah," you say. "I'm ready." He grips your shoulder. "Good, because ready or not, it's coming." That night, the wind howls, actually howls. It sounds alive, angry, hungry. It tears across the prairie with nothing to slow it down, slamming into the camp like waves against rocks. But inside the teepee, with your family around you and the fire banked low, you're protected. For now. Winter is coming, but you've got cattail fluff in your moccasins, grass ready for insulation, layered clothing inspected and prepared, and the knowledge that your people have survived worse. The long dark killed half your grandmother's band, but she made it through, passed her knowledge down. Now it's your turn to use it. You drift off to sleep hearing Wintersong's voice in your memory. Heat retention beats heat generation, always. Tomorrow, final preparations, then the move, then winter for real. Better be ready. The dogs know something's happening before anyone says a word. They're restless this morning, circling the camp, whining. Dogs always know. They can sense the shift in routine, the tension in how people move. Today's the day, the move. You're up before dawn because there's no way you're sleeping through this. The whole camp is already buzzing. Families taking down their teepees, loading travois, organising supplies, controlled chaos. "Little fox, start with the inner lining," your father orders. Right, the teepee breakdown has an order to it. You can't just yank everything down, do it wrong, and you'll damage the hides, tangle the poles, waste precious time. You duck inside and start unpinning the inner lining from the poles. This thin layer of buffalo hide has been hanging there for months, creating that air gap that kept you from freezing. Now it comes down, gets folded carefully, goes into a specific bundle. Your mother and grandmother are already packing the sleeping furs. Everything has a place, a system. The heaviest items go on the bottom of the travoy loads. Fragile items get wrapped and cushioned. Food supplies go in waterproof containers made from buffalo bladder. Outside, your father and uncle are working on the outer covering. The big buffalo hide covering weighs over 100 pounds and took months to make. 12 to 15 hides, all sewn together with sinew, every seam waterproofed with a mixture of fat and clay. They unpeg it from the ground stakes, working their way around the base. The hide starts to sag, revealing the pole framework underneath. "Careful with the smoke flap," Running Elk calls out. The smoke hole at the top has these two triangular flaps that you can adjust with poles from the inside. They control the draft, keep rain and snow out. Those flaps are delicate, easy to tear if you're not careful. The covering comes down in sections. It takes 4 people to fold it properly. You jump in to help. The hide is stiff from months of use, hardened by smoke and weather, but it's still flexible enough to fold without cracking. That's the art of tanning buffalo hide, making it tough enough to withstand prairie weather, but not so stiff it breaks. Laughing Water is supposed to be helping, but she's mostly in the way. She tries to lift a corner of the hide and immediately gets buried under it. "I'm stuck," comes her muffled voice. "We know," you reply. Your mother rescues her. "Go help with the food supplies." Laughing Water sulks off. She's 8, so everything is either the best thing ever or a personal tragedy. No middle ground. Now comes the pole work. This is where it gets technical. The teepee framework is basically 15 to 20 long straight pine poles, each one about 20 feet long. They weigh maybe 30 pounds each. The 3 or 4 main support poles are tied together at the top, and the rest lean against them in a specific pattern. Your father climbs up to untie the main supports. It's risky. One slip and he's falling 20 feet onto hard ground. But he's done this 1,000 times. The binding comes loose. The poles start to separate. "Ready?" he calls down. "Ready?" your uncle confirms. They lower the main supports carefully. The rest of the poles come down in a controlled collapse. The whole framework that's been your home for months is suddenly just a pile of wood on the ground. It's weird seeing it like this. Broken down, the teepee doesn't look like much, just hides and poles. But assembled, it's an engineering masterpiece that's kept your family alive. The poles get sorted and bundled. Your father knows exactly which ones go together. They're arranged so the weight balances perfectly on the travoy. "These 3, he says, pointing, "then these 4, keep them in order. You and your uncle tie them with sinew rope." The knots have to be tight enough to hold, but easy enough to undo when you reach the new camp. Around you, the entire camp is coming down. 60 people dismantling their lives, packing everything they own, preparing to walk for 2 days through increasingly cold weather to reach a place they've never seen. This is normal. This is just what you do. The dogs are getting harnessed now. Each family has 3 or 4 dogs big enough to pull a loaded travoy. They're not pets exactly, more like working partners. You feed them, they work. That's the deal. Your family's main dog is called Runs Fast, which is ironic because he's actually pretty lazy. But put a harness on him and suddenly he's all business. Your father attaches the travoy to Runs Fast's harness, 2 long poles stretched behind the dog with a platform between them. The poles drag on the ground, which is how it moves. Loading begins. The heavy hide covering goes on first, strapped down tight, then the bundles of poles, then the food supplies, then the sleeping furs, then personal items. Everything gets tied down because nothing sucks worse than having your supplies fall off mid-journey and having to backtrack. By mid-morning, the camp is completely gone. Where there were 20 plus teepees, now there's just flattened grass and fire pits, like you were never here. The line forms up. Families with their loaded travois, dogs harnessed and ready, everyone dressed in travelling clothes. The elders and small children will ride on some of the travois when they get tired. Everyone else walks. Strong Trees, the band leader, stands at the front. He's been leading the winter migrations for 30 years. If anyone knows how to get a camp from point A to point B safely, it's him. We walk steady, he announces. No rushing. We stop to rest every 2 hours. We camp tonight at Red Rocks. Tomorrow we reach the winter site. Stay together. Watch the children. Help the elders. We all make it or none of us make it. That's basically the Lakota motto for everything. The line starts moving. Dogs pull, people walk, travois slide across the frozen ground with this scraping sound that becomes the rhythm of the journey. You're walking near the middle of the line with your family. Morning Dew and her family are a few groups ahead. You can see her helping her younger brother, who's maybe 5 and already complaining about being tired. The prairie stretches out forever. Brown grass, grey sky, that wind that never stops. The temperature is probably around 20 degrees, but with the wind it feels like 10, maybe less. Your new winter moccasins are performing beautifully though. The cattail fluff keeps your feet warm even though you're walking through partially frozen ground. Your breath comes out in clouds, but your core stays warm thanks to the layering. 2 hours in, Strong Trees calls the first rest. Everyone stops, drinks water, checks their loads. The dogs pant and lie down immediately. Your grandmother pulls out some pemmican and dried berries. Eat. Keep your strength. You eat. It tastes like survival, which is to say, you're grateful for it. Morning Dew appears, her little brother in tow. Can he walk with laughing water? He needs someone his age. Sure, your mother says. The two kids immediately become best friends and start playing some game involving pretending to be bison. Kids are weird. How's your family doing? You ask Morning Dew. My grandmother is struggling, she says quietly. The cold is hard on her. You look over. Morning Dew's grandmother, Singing Bird, is riding on one of their travois, wrapped in furs. She looks fragile. Old age and winter are a bad combination. Your grandmother is walking the whole way, Morning Dew observes, looking at Winter Song. Yeah, she is. At 60 plus winters, Winter Song is marching along like she's half her age. The woman is made of something different than normal people. The rest ends. The line moves again. The afternoon is harder. The temperature drops. The wind picks up. Everyone's tired and you're not even halfway to tonight's camp. This is when accidents happen. When people get sloppy, make mistakes, get hurt. Right on cue, there's a shout from the front of the line. Travois broke! Everyone stops. You can see what happened. One of the travois poles snapped, probably from hitting a rock wrong. The whole load is now dragging at an angle. Strong Trees and several men rush to fix it. They've got spare poles, rope, everything needed for repairs. This happens every journey, but it takes time. 20 minutes of standing in cold wind while they splice in a new pole and redistribute the weight. Your teeth start chattering. You're dressed warm but standing still in this wind? That'll get you. Move around, your grandmother orders. Keep your blood flowing. You stomp your feet, swing your arms. It helps, but man, you're ready to move again. The repair finishes, the line moves, red rocks appears on the horizon as the sun starts dropping. It's this outcropping of reddish stone that provides a little shelter from the north wind. Not much, but better than nothing. Setting up a temporary camp is different from setting up a real one. You don't fully assemble the teepees. Instead, you create lean-tos with the poles and hides, just enough to block wind and keep somewhat warm. Your father and uncle work fast. They plant 4 poles in the ground, lean the others against them, drape one hide over the whole thing. Instant shelter, ugly but functional. The fire pit gets dug quickly. Finding fuel is harder. There's no buffalo dung here, and trees are sparse. You end up gathering dried grass and whatever dead brush you can find. It's not great fuel, but it'll burn. Getting the fire started is critical. Your father uses a fire-starting kit, a piece of flint, a steel striker, and a bundle of cattail fluff for tinder. The fluff catches on the first spark, flames up immediately. Within minutes, you've got a small fire going. Everyone crowds around it. Dinner is cold pemmican and water. No time or fuel for hot food tonight. You eat quickly, trying not to think about how much you want something warm. The temperature is dropping fast. The sun is gone, and that grey sky is turning black. Stars start appearing, which is pretty, but also means no clouds. No clouds means nothing holding heat in. Gonna be a cold night. Everyone sleeps close, your father orders. Share body heat. Dogs inside the shelter with us. Wait, what? Sure enough, runs fast and the other dogs get brought into the lean-to. They stink, they're damp, they're taking up space. But they're also warm-blooded animals that generate heat. About 100 watts per dog, actually. You end up sandwiched between laughing water on one side and a dog on the other. The dog smells terrible but radiates warmth like a furry furnace. This is disgusting, Laughing Water whispers. This is survival, you whisper back. Around the camp, other families are doing the same thing. 20 plus lean-tos, each one packed with people and dogs, everyone sharing warmth because that's what works. The wind howls outside, the hide walls flap and shake. The fire burns down to coals. Nobody's sleeping well, but you're not freezing either. Morning Dew's family is in the lean-to next to yours. You can hear her grandmother coughing, deep, wet coughs that sound bad. Your mother hears it too. She looks at your grandmother. Wintersong nods. I'll check on her in the morning. But there's something in her voice. Something that says she's worried. You try to sleep. The ground is hard and cold. The dog next to you keeps shifting position. Laughing Water is snoring. Your father is somehow actually asleep, the lucky bastard. Outside, the prairie wind doesn't stop. It never stops. It flows over the rocks, through the grass, around the lean-tos, carrying cold from the north, reminding everyone that winter is here and it doesn't care about your plans. Tomorrow, you'll reach the winter camp. Tomorrow, you'll set up properly. Tomorrow, you'll be safer. But tonight, you're exposed, vulnerable, camping in the open during the coldest season with only buffalo hide and shared warmth between you and death. This is what survival looks like. Not glorious, not comfortable. Just people doing what they have to do to make it through one more night. You drift in and out of sleep. At some point, snow starts falling. Just a little, but it's the first snow of the season. Winter is official now. And you still have one more day of travel ahead of you. You wake up to Laughing Water's elbow in your ribs and runs fast, licking your face. Get off, you mumble, pushing the dog away. The dog does not get off. Dogs never listen. Outside the lean-to, you can hear people moving around, fires being rekindled, the whole camp slowly coming back to life after a rough night. Your body is stiff. Every joint feels rusty. Sleeping on frozen ground in a temporary shelter is not exactly luxury living, but you're alive, which is the important part. Your father is already up, checking the Travoy loads. We lost some time yesterday with the repair, need to move faster today. Your mother is brewing something in a small pot over the fire. You can smell it from here. It's pine needle tea, which tastes like drinking a tree, but wakes you up and provides some nutrients. Drink, she says, handing you a cup. You drink. Yeah, it tastes like a tree. A very aggressive tree that's mad at you. But it's hot, and hot anything in this cold is a gift. Your grandmother is gone. You look around, spot her over at Morning Dew's lean-to, examining Singing Bird. That's not good. Winter Song doesn't make house calls unless it's serious. You walk over, trying to be subtle about it. Morning Dew is outside, looking worried. How bad? You ask quietly. Bad, she replies. She's burning up. Fever, coughing blood. Blood. That's really not good. Inside, you can hear Winter Song talking to Singing Bird in low tones. Then she emerges, her face unreadable. She needs to rest, your grandmother says to Morning Dew's father, Broken Arrow. The journey is too much for her, but we can't stay here. No shelter, no protection. Broken Arrow nods. She rides the travoy today, all day if needed. Keep her wrapped warm. Give her willowbark tea for the fever, but Winter Song trails off. But what? Morning Dew asks. Your grandmother looks at her directly, but sometimes winter decides who makes it and who doesn't. We do what we can. The rest is out of our hands. Harsh, but honest. The camp breaks down quickly. Everyone's motivated to get to the actual winter site where there's real shelter. The lean-tos come down. Loads get reorganized. Singing Bird gets bundled onto a travoy with extra furs. The line forms up again. Strong Trees does a head count. Everyone's accounted for. Steady pace, he calls out. We reach the winter camp by mid-afternoon. No stops unless necessary. The line moves. The second day of travel is harder than the first. Everyone's already tired, already cold, already done with this. But the prairie doesn't care about your feelings. The snow from last night didn't amount to much, just a dusting, but it's a preview of what's coming. The sky is that heavy grey colour that means more snow is building up. Waiting. You're walking next to Morning Dew again. She's quiet, worried about her grandmother. Winter Song knows what she's doing, you offer. I know, but knowing doesn't help when someone you love is dying. You don't have a good response to that. Sometimes there isn't one. The hours drag, one foot in front of the other. The wind is somehow worse today, cutting across the open prairie with nothing to slow it down. Your face goes numb despite the beaver fur hat. Your fingers ache inside the mittens. This is what -30 feels like when you're exposed, like the cold is actively trying to get inside you, find your warmth, take it away. Around noon, Strong Trees calls a brief stop, just enough time to drink water and check on everyone. Singing Bird is worse. You can see it from here. Her breathing is laboured, raspy. Her skin has that greyish tint that means the body is shutting down. Morning Dew won't leave her side. Your grandmother pulls Broken Arrow aside. You can't hear what they're saying, but his face says it all. He knows. He's preparing himself. The stop ends. The line moves again. The landscape starts changing. The flat prairie gives way to gentle rolling hills. Trees appear, scattered at first, then more dense. Pine trees, which means firewood, which means life. We're close, your father says, pointing ahead. You can see it now. A valley tucked between two low ridges, sheltered from the north wind. A river running through it, not yet frozen, and trees, actual forests of pine trees, the winter camp. The line picks up speed. Everyone's excited. Real shelter, real protection, the end of this journey. You enter the valley as the sun starts dropping toward the horizon. The wind immediately cuts in half. Those ridges on either side are doing their job, blocking the worst of it. "Perfect," Running Elk says, surveying the area. "Water, wood, shelter, everything we need." Strong Trees is already directing families to their spots. The camp layout gets determined by a mix of tradition and practicality. Families related by blood stay close together. Teepees get positioned so the entrances face east, away from the prevailing west wind. Your family's spot is near the river on a slight rise. Good drainage, close to water, protected by a stand of pine trees on the north side. "Start unpacking," your father orders. We set up before dark. Setting up a teepee is basically the reverse of taking it down, but it's still a lot of work. The 3 or 4 main support poles go up first, tied together at the top, spread wide at the base. Your father and uncle lift them into position. The poles are heavy, unwieldy, but they manage. Then come the remaining poles leaned against the main supports in a specific circular pattern. 15 poles total, creating the conical framework. The framework alone already provides some wind protection, but it's just the skeleton. Now comes the covering. The big buffalo hide gets lifted up and wrapped around the poles. It takes the whole family to manage it. You start at the entrance, work your way around, pegging the bottom edge to the ground with wooden stakes. The hide overlaps itself near the entrance, creating a natural door flap. The seams between hides have been sewn with sinew and sealed with a mixture of fat and clay. Waterproof, windproof, designed to last years. At the top, the smoke hole gets configured with those 2 adjustable flaps. Your father uses long poles to position them from inside, creating a draft that'll pull smoke up and out while keeping rain and snow from coming in. The whole thing takes about 2 hours. By the time you're done, darkness is falling and the temperature is dropping hard, but you've got a teepee, real shelter. Inside, your mother is already setting up. The inner lining goes up next, hung about a foot off the ground all the way around the perimeter. That gap between the outer wall and inner lining creates the airflow that makes the whole system work. The floor gets covered with dried grass first, then sleeping furs on top. The fire pit goes in the centre, carefully positioned directly under the smoke hole. Your father starts the fire. The flames catch, grow, fill the space with light and warmth. The smoke rises naturally, exits through the top. The design works perfectly. "Home," your mother says simply. "Yeah, home." Outside, you can hear other families setting up their teepees. The whole camp is going up simultaneously. Within a few hours, where there was an empty valley, now there's a village of 20+ teepees. Dinner is actual hot food tonight. Your mother makes a proper stew with dried meat, prairie turnips, and wild onions. It's amazing what hot food does for morale. You eat 3 bowls, no shame. After dinner, you step outside to gather firewood. This is going to be a nightly chore for the next 6 months. The forest nearby provides plenty of dead branches and fallen trees. You bundle up what you can carry and haul it back. The stars are out now, bright and cold. The Milky Way stretches across the sky like a river of light. Beautiful, deadly. Those clear skies mean no cloud cover, which means heat escapes into space, which means the temperature plummets. You're heading back to your teepee when you spot Morning Dew sitting outside her family's shelter, alone. You walk over. "How is she?" Morning Dew looks up. Her eyes are red. "She died an hour ago, right after we got the teepee set up." "Oh," you sit down next to her. "I'm sorry." "She was ready," Morning Dew says quietly. "Said she just wanted to make it to the winter camp. She did. Then she let go." The Lakota believe in timing. When it's your time, it's your time. Singing Bird held on until her family was safe, then released her grip on life. She taught you everything, you say, everything that mattered. Morning Dew wipes her eyes. How to read weather, how to prepare hides, how to find cattails and know which grass makes the best insulation, how to survive. Then she's not really gone. I know, but it still hurts. Yeah, it does. You sit there together in the cold, not talking, just being present. Sometimes that's what people need. Eventually, her father calls her back inside. We'll do the ceremony tomorrow, Broken Arrow says. Tonight, we rest. Morning Dew stands. Thank you for sitting with me. Anytime. She heads back inside. You return to your teepee. Your family is settling in for sleep. The fire is banked low, coals glowing red. The inner lining is already doing its job, creating that thermal barrier. Singing Bird passed, you tell them. Your grandmother nods. She fought hard. Many don't make it through the journey. She did. That's the closest thing to a eulogy you get out here. You fought hard. You made it as far as you could. Your father is organising the supply bundles along the walls of the teepee. Food supplies, tools, extra hides, everything gets stacked neatly. This isn't just storage. The mass of supplies creates additional insulation, an extra thermal buffer between the living space and the outside. Tons of dried pemmican, bundled grass, stored equipment. It all works as insulation while also being functional. Nothing wasted. Everything serving multiple purposes. Tomorrow, Wintersong announces, we start the real work, banking the teepee bases with earth and snow, checking everyone's winter supplies, making sure every family is prepared. Tomorrow, your mother adds, we also honour Singing Bird properly. The ceremony will be simple. The Lakota don't do elaborate funerals. The body gets wrapped in hides, placed on a scaffold away from camp, returned to nature. The spirit moves on to the next world. Life continues for those who remain. You lie down on your sleeping area. The buffalo hides beneath you are thick and comfortable. The furs on top are heavy and warm. The fire creates a gentle glow. Laughing Water is already asleep, curled up like a cat. Your parents are talking quietly near the fire. Your grandmother is working on something with her hands, always working. Outside, you can hear the river flowing, the wind in the pines, the occasional dog barking, the sounds of camp settling in for a long winter. This valley is good, protected, resourced, defensible. You'll be here until spring, roughly 6 months. That's 6 months of making it day by day, surviving storm by storm, meal by meal. But right now, in this moment, you're warm, you're fed, your family is alive, you made it to the winter camp. That's basically everything. The fire crackles softly. The teepee breathes with the wind, that inner lining creating airflow that keeps you comfortable without losing heat. This is engineered survival, this conical structure that resists hurricane-force winds, this double wall system that works like a thermos, this smoke hole with adjustable flaps, this entrance facing east to avoid the west wind, centuries of trial and error encoded in buffalo hide and pine poles. Your grandmother was right. Sometimes the smartest solutions are the simplest ones. You close your eyes. Tomorrow brings new challenges. Building snow berms around the teepees, organising fuel supplies, honouring the dead. But that's tomorrow. Tonight you've got shelter, warmth and family. In a Great Plains winter, that's everything you need. Morning arrives with frost covering everything, like the world got dipped in white powder overnight. Your breath is visible before you even open your eyes. The fire died down to nothing during the night. That's normal for the first night in a new camp. You're still figuring out how much wood you need, how to bank the coals properly. Your father is already working on rekindling it. He's got that focused look he gets when he's solving problems. Today we make this camp permanent, he says to no one in particular. Earth and snow make the bases solid. You know what that means? Hours of heavy labor, digging, hauling, packing. Your back is sore just thinking about it, but it has to be done. Outside, the camp is waking up slowly. People emerging from teepees, assessing the frost, making plans. You can see Morning Dew's family already up, preparing for the ceremony. Your grandmother is sorting through dried plants she gathered during the journey: willow bark, sage, sweetgrass, medicine and ceremony supplies. "We honor Singing Bird at midday," she says. "Then we work." The morning is spent on preparations. The men gather materials for the ceremony scaffold. The women prepare food for the feast that follows. Kids are tasked with collecting firewood, which is basically their full-time job now. You're hauling your third load when you run into Morning Dew doing the same thing. "Hey," you say. Brilliant conversation starter. "Hey," she drops her bundle near her teepee. "Thanks for yesterday, for sitting with me." "Yeah, of course." Awkward silence. "You're not great at this." "She would have liked you," Morning Dew says suddenly. "My grandmother, she always said the quiet ones are the ones who actually listen." "I'm not that quiet." "You're quieter than most." She smiles a little. "That's not a bad thing." Before you can figure out how to respond, her father calls her back. She leaves, and you're standing there holding firewood like an idiot. Smooth. By noon, the ceremony is ready. The scaffold stands about 8 feet high, made from pine branches lashed together. Singing Bird's body, wrapped in her best buffalo robes, rests on top. The whole camp gathers. Strong Trees speaks first, honouring her life. Then Broken Arrow, her son, talks about her strength, her knowledge, her determination to reach the winter camp one last time. Then Winter Song steps forward. When your grandmother speaks at ceremonies, everyone listens. Singing Bird walked this earth for 63 winters, she says. She survived the long dark when many did not. She taught 3 generations how to prepare hides, how to read the sky, how to endure. Her body returns to the earth. Her spirit moves on. Her knowledge remains with us. Short, direct, perfect. The camp shares a meal together. Not elaborate, but communal. Pemmican stew, dried berries, pine needle tea. The food isn't the point. Being together is the point. After the meal, the real work begins. "Little Fox, grab a digging stick," your father orders. "We're banking the base." Banking the base means creating a thick earthen berm around the bottom of the teepee. This seals the gap where the hide meets the ground, prevents cold air from sneaking in, adds thermal mass. You grab a digging stick, basically a sturdy branch with a sharpened, fire-hardened point, and start loosening the soil near your teepee's base. The ground is already starting to freeze. This would have been easier 2 weeks ago, but you work with what you've got. Your uncle is doing the same on the other side. Your father is hauling rocks to line the inside of the berm, creating structure. "We want it at least a foot thick," Running Elk explains. 2 feet is better. Pack it tight. You dig, loosen dirt, pile it against the base. Dig, loosen, pile. Your hands start cramping. The work is monotonous and hard. But you can already see the difference. That gap at the bottom where wind could slip through, sealed. The hide is now anchored by a solid wall of earth. "Now we wait for snow," your grandmother says, watching your work. "When it comes, we pack it on top of this. Double insulation." Snow as insulation. You've heard this before, but it still seems backwards. Snow is cold. How does cold insulate against cold? The snow itself isn't warm, Winter Song explains, reading your confusion, but it's full of air, tiny pockets between the crystals. That air is what insulates. The snow just holds the air in place. Physics. The Lakota figured out thermodynamics without calling it thermodynamics. You move to the next section. Keep working. Around the camp, every family is doing the same thing. 20 plus teepees, all getting their bases reinforced simultaneously. This is what survival looks like. Not dramatic, just coordinated, consistent effort. By late afternoon, your teepee's base is completely banked. A solid ring of earth, 1.5 feet high, packed tight. The improvement is immediate. Less draft coming in at ground level. Good work, you five. You fire. Father says from him, that's basically a standing ovation. You're exhausted, your hands are blistered, your back is screaming, but the work is done. For now. Tomorrow we start collecting and storing bison chips, your mother announces. We need enough fuel to last 6 months. 6 months of fuel. You do the rough math. That's a lot of bison chips. The herds moved through here recently, Running Elk notes. There should be plenty nearby. Plenty, sure, but plenty still means days of collecting, drying, storing. Nothing comes easy. That night, the temperature drops hard, like really hard. You can feel it even inside the teepee with the fire going. Storm coming, your grandmother says, staring at the smoke hole. Big one. How do you know? Laughing Water asks. The smoke is moving wrong. The stars look fuzzy, the dogs are restless. She looks at your father. Tomorrow we stay inside, work on indoor tasks. When Wintersong predicts weather, you listen. The woman has a success rate that's frankly spooky. Sure enough, around midnight, the wind picks up. Not just wind, serious wind, the kind that makes the teepee walls ripple and shake. Then the snow comes. You wake up to the sound of it hitting the hide covering. Soft at first, then harder. The wind drives it nearly horizontal. Your father is already up, adjusting the smoke flaps with the poles. Too open and snow gets in. Too closed and smoke backs up. It's a constant balancing act during storms. Everyone stay inside, he orders. This is a real one. A real one. That means dangerous. People die in storms like this. They go outside to pee or check on something and get disoriented. The whiteout conditions make it impossible to see more than a few feet. They wander, get lost, freeze. Staying inside is the only smart move. The storm intensifies through the morning. The wind howls, actually sounds like wolves. The snow piles up fast. You can hear it accumulating on the teepee. Feel the weight of it. This is good, your grandmother says, working on repairing some clothing. Snow is building our walls for us. She's right. That earthen berm you spent yesterday building, now it's getting covered with snow. Dense, packed snow that'll act as additional insulation. The storm makes it impossible to go out for fuel, so your father is carefully rationing what firewood you have inside. Small fire, just enough to keep warm and cook, not wasteful. Lunch is cold pemmican. No point burning extra fuel to heat it. Tell us a story, grandmother, Laughing Water requests. Wintersong considers this. She's got about 1,000 stories, ranging from teaching tales to horror stories that'll keep you up at night. I'll tell you about the winter the buffalo disappeared, she says. Everyone settles in. Even your parents stop what they're doing. This was before you were born, little fox. Maybe 30 winters ago. The herds didn't come through in autumn like they should. We waited and waited. Nothing. By midwinter, our food supplies were running low, very low. People were eating 1 meal a day, and small meals at that. Children were crying from hunger. Elders were getting weak. Some families wanted to move, try to find the herds, but moving in deep winter is death. So we stayed, and we got creative. We caught rabbits in snares, dug for roots under the snow. The hunters went out every day looking for any game at all. Deer, elk, anything. Most days they found nothing. We started eating things we'd saved for emergencies, dried berries from years ago, leather from old clothing boiled until soft, ground up cattail roots, whatever had calories. She pauses, making sure everyone's paying attention. By late February, people were dying. The very old, the very young, the sick. We lost 8 people that winter, 8 out of 52. Then, in early March, a scout spotted the herds returning from the south. Late, but they came. The first hunt brought in 6 bison. People cried when they saw the meat. Actually cried. We survived. Barely. But we learned. After that winter, we doubled our food storage requirements. Started putting away extra supplies. Hidden caches in case one camp's supplies failed. Made sure every family had enough pemmican to last until spring, even if hunting failed completely. The story hangs in the air. 8 people. That's almost 1 in 6. The lesson, Winter Song concludes, is that preparation saves lives and that nature doesn't owe you anything. You survive because you plan for the worst and hope for the best. Outside, the storm continues. The snow keeps falling. The wind keeps howling. But inside, with the fire burning and your family together, you're protected. The earthen berm is holding, the double wall system is working, the banked coals provide steady heat. All those hours of preparation, all that tedious labour, all that knowledge passed down through generations, this is what it's for. These moments, when nature throws everything at you and you survive because you did the work. By evening, the storm starts to ease. The wind drops from howling to just constant. The snow lightens up. Your father carefully opens the entrance flap. Snow immediately falls in. It's piled at least 2 feet high against the teepee. Perfect, he says. Wait, perfect. Little fox, help me pack this. You go outside. The snow is everywhere. Deep drifts against every teepee, some reaching 3 feet high. The whole camp looks like it got buried, but your father is smiling. He's taking snow and packing it against the earthen berm, creating a solid snow wall around the base of the teepee. This, he says, packing it tight, is better insulation than anything we could build, and it's free. You help him pack. The snow is dense and heavy, perfect for building. Within an hour, you've added another foot of height to the berm. Now it's earth on the bottom, packed snow on top, creating this thick protective ring. From inside, the difference is immediate. That cold draft at floor level, gone. The space feels warmer, more secure. Around the camp, other families are doing the same, taking what the storm gave them and making it work for their survival. Tomorrow, your grandmother says, if the weather clears, we collect fuel. Now that the snow is here, we need to work fast before the next storm, because there's always a next storm. You eat dinner, clean up, prepare for sleep, the fire burns low, the snow-reinforced walls hold firm. Laughing Water is already asleep, exhausted from a day of being cooped up inside. Your parents are talking quietly. Your grandmother is checking supplies, mentally calculating what's needed. You lie down, pull the buffalo hide over you, feel the warmth trapped between layers. The first major storm is over. The winterization is working. The camp is secure, but winter is just getting started. You've got 5.5 months to go. The days start blending together. Wake up, restart the fire, eat, work, sleep, repeat. This is what deep winter looks like. Not dramatic, just consistent daily effort to stay alive. You're 3 weeks into the winter camp now. The routine is set. Everyone knows their jobs. Mornings are for fuel gathering. You, your father, and about a dozen other men and boys head out into the snow with baskets, looking for bison chips. The herds passed through here recently, which means the ground is basically covered with the stuff. You just have to dig through the snow to find it. Look for the mounds, your father instructs. The chips create small bumps under the snow. You spot one, brush away the snow, and yeah, There it is, a dried bison chip, perfectly preserved by the cold. You toss it in your basket. This is your life now, walking through knee-deep snow, finding frozen animal poop, bringing it home to burn, glamorous. But you know what? It works. These chips burn slow and steady, giving off decent heat without much smoke. The smell isn't even that bad, kind of like burning grass clippings. Your basket fills slowly. Each chip weighs maybe a pound. You need at least 50 pounds per day to keep one teepee warm, times 60 days until the next gathering trip equals 3,000 pounds. That's a lot of poop. Morning Dew and the other women are out too, gathering on the other side of camp. You can hear them talking, laughing occasionally. Women's work and men's work happen separately most of the time, but during winter, everyone's doing basically the same thing. Whatever keeps the camp alive. "Little Fox," your uncle calls over, "come help with this." He's found a massive pile of chips, probably from a bull bison. These are premium, bigger, denser, better burning. You both work to dig them out, load them up. Your hands are freezing despite the mittens. The wind cuts through everything today. "Your father tells me you're ready for the winter hunt," your uncle says while working. "I think so. Thinking and knowing are different." He hefts his basket. Winter hunting is not like summer hunting. The cold kills you if you make mistakes. Frostbite, hypothermia, getting lost in whiteout conditions. You hesitate, you die. I won't hesitate. He looks at you. Good, because we need every hunter we can get. Food's going to be tight this winter. That's news. We have plenty of pemmican for now, but the stores are lower than we'd like. If we can't hunt successfully, we'll be rationing by February. That's 3 months away. 3 months to get through before you even hit the hungry time. The morning's gathering ends with everyone's baskets full. You haul yours back to camp, dump the chips in the storage area next to your teepee. Your mother and grandmother are organising them, stacking them to stay dry, keeping them accessible. "Good haul," your mother says. "This should last us 4 days if we're careful." 4 days, then you do it all again. Lunch is pemmican mixed with dried berries and fat. You've eaten this exact meal probably 300 times by now. It tastes like survival, which is to say you're grateful but not excited. Laughing Water is getting antsy. She's been cooped up for weeks with nothing to do but help with small chores. 8-year-olds aren't built for sitting still. "I'm bored," she announces for the 10th time today. "Be bored quietly," your mother replies. "Can I go play outside?" Oh, no, it's -20 and the wind is dangerous. "Can I play with the dogs?" "The dogs are working. Leave them alone." "Can I?" "No." Laughing Water sulks. This is winter with kids. Cabin fever is real. Your grandmother takes pity on her. "Come here, I'll teach you advanced knot work." Laughing Water perks up. The hard ones. They settle near the fire, Winter Song pulling out various lengths of sinew cord. She starts showing Laughing Water complex knots used for securing loads, emergency repairs, trap making. This is how knowledge transfers. Not formal lessons, just daily teaching moments when someone needs something to do. Afternoon is for indoor work. Your father is repairing a tear in the outer covering. Your mother is restuffing clothing with fresh cattail fluff. You're working on making new moccasins from a piece of buffalo hide. The work is meditative. Cut the leather, sew the seams, stuff with insulation, attach the soles. Your grandmother walks you through each step, correcting your technique. Stitches too far apart, she notes. See? Cold air will get through, closer together. You redo the section. It's tedious, but she's right. A gap in your moccasin can lead to frostbite, which can lead to losing toes, which can lead to death. Details matter. Around mid-afternoon, Morning Dew appears at your entrance flap. "Can I borrow Winter Song? My mother needs help with medicine." "Of course," your grandmother says, already standing. "What's wrong?" Little brother has a bad cough. Started this morning. They leave together. Sickness in winter is dangerous. A simple cough can become pneumonia, which can kill. You keep working on the moccasins. The fire crackles softly. Outside, the wind picks up again. Always the wind. Your father breaks the silence. Tomorrow we check the snares. Should have rabbits by now. Snares are set up around camp in a wide perimeter, simple traps made from sinew loops that catch rabbits around the neck. Rabbit meat is lean, but it's better than nothing. I'll come with you, you offer. He nods. Bring your warmest gear, we'll be out for hours. Evening arrives early. By 4 o'clock it's getting dark. Winter days are short, which means less time for outdoor work, more time sitting in the teepee trying not to go crazy. Dinner is rabbit stew. Someone's snares were successful. The meat is tough and stringy, but hot food is hot food. After eating, the long evening begins. This is the hardest part of winter, the darkness, the confinement, the endless hours with nothing to do but sit and think. Some families tell stories, others play games with stones or carved figures. Your family usually ends up doing repair work by firelight while your grandmother shares knowledge. Tonight she's teaching about stars. The winter sky is different from summer, she explains, pointing up through the smoke hole. You can see stars through the opening. Those 7 stars there, we call them the hand. They're high in winter, low in summer. Laughing water is transfixed. Why do they move? The sky turns, the earth turns, everything moves in cycles. Wintersong traces patterns with her finger. Those 3 bright stars in a row, the hunter, he chases the buffalo across the sky all winter, just like we chase them across the prairie. Your grandmother knows the sky better than most people know their own families. She can navigate by stars, predict weather from their appearance, tell time by their position. You need to learn this, she says to you and laughing water. If you're caught in a storm, lost, the stars can save you, if you know how to read them. Another lesson, another piece of survival knowledge being passed down. The fire burns low. People start settling for sleep. But sleep comes slowly in winter. The darkness is oppressive, heavy. You lie there thinking about everything and nothing. Tomorrow will be the same as today. Fuel gathering, food preparation, repairs, maintenance, day after day, week after week, month after month. This is what survival is. Not heroic, just persistent. You drift in and out. At some point you hear your parents talking in low voices near the dying fire. Food supplies are concerning, your mother says. I know. We might need to reduce rations soon. The children will struggle. Everyone will struggle, but we've managed worse. Silence. Then your mother again. How much worse? We'll find out. You pretend to be asleep, but the worry settles in your stomach like a rock. Morning comes grey and cold. Same as yesterday, same as tomorrow. Your father wakes you early. Snare check, get dressed. You layer up, base layer, regular clothes, outer robe, winter moccasins, mittens, hat. You're basically a walking insulation system. Outside, the cold hits like a wall. -25 at least, maybe 30. Your breath freezes instantly, creating ice crystals in your beard that you're just starting to grow. The snare line runs in a wide circle around camp, following game trails and likely rabbit territory. Each snare is about 50 feet from the next one. You and your father trudge through the snow, checking each one systematically. First snare, empty. Second snare, empty. Third snare, empty. Fourth, Rabbit, frozen solid, caught sometime overnight. Your father resets the snare, takes the rabbit. By the time you finish the circuit, you've got 3 rabbits. Not bad for a day's checking. We'll set more snares next week, your father says. Need to expand the line. Back at camp, your mother skins and butchers the rabbits. Nothing gets wasted. Meat for stew, fur for trim on clothing, sinew for thread, bones for tools or soup stock. Lunch is yesterday's leftover stew, reheated. Then it's back to maintenance work. This is life now. This is all life is until spring. But you know what? You're managing. The camp is holding together. Families are cooperating, sharing resources when someone runs short. Kids are learning. Elders are teaching. You're not thriving exactly, but you're surviving. And out here, that's the same thing. Evening comes, more stories around the fire. Your grandmother talks about the spring that's coming, the ice breaking on the river, the first green shoots of grass, the return of the buffalo herds. It feels impossibly far away, but it's coming. It always comes. You just have to make it there. That night, lying in your sleeping furs, you think about Morning Dew. Haven't seen her much lately. Everyone's focused on their own family's survival. But spring will come, and with spring comes renewal, celebration, the chance to think about things beyond just not dying. You fall asleep thinking about warmer days. The fire burns low. The snow falls softly outside. The wind whispers through the pines. Winter continues, deep, cold, relentless. But you're still here. Still breathing, still fighting, still surviving, just like your grandmother did during the long dark, just like your ancestors did for thousands of years before you. One day at a time, one fire at a time, one meal at a time. That's how you make it through a Great Plains winter. Not by being strong, by being persistent, and maybe a little bit stubborn. The darkness wraps around the camp like a blanket, heavy and complete. But inside each teepee, fires burn, families gather, knowledge passes from old to young, life continues quietly, steadily. Winter wins some battles, but spring always wins the war. You just have to last long enough to see it. February is when winter gets mean. You've been at this for 4 months now. 4 months of cold, of rationed food, of endless maintenance. The pemmican supplies are running low. Everyone's down to 2 small meals a day. Your ribs are starting to show. Laughing Water's face looks hollow. Even your father, who's always been solid, is getting thinner. 3 more weeks, your grandmother says one morning, stirring a thin soup. Maybe 4, then the ice breaks, then spring. 3 weeks? Might as well be 3 years when you're hungry. The winter hunt happened 2 weeks ago. Your father took you along finally. You remember every detail. The cold was brutal. -40, easy. The kind of cold where your spit freezes before it hits the ground, where exposed skin gets frostbite in minutes. You tracked a small herd of bison to a valley where snow had drifted deep. The animals were struggling, exhausted from breaking through the drifts. The hunters moved in on snowshoes, spreading out. You had one shot with your bow, one chance. You took it. The arrow flew true, caught the bison in the vital spot behind the shoulder. The animal went down, your first winter kill. Your father gripped your shoulder, didn't say anything, didn't have to. That bison fed the camp for a week, every part used, meat, hide, bones, organs. Nothing wasted. But that was 2 weeks ago. Now you're back to thin soups and rationed pemmican. This is the hungry time, when winter has taken everything it can take and spring hasn't arrived yet. Morning Dew's little brother died last week. The cough that started in November turned into something worse. By February, he couldn't breathe right. Then one morning, he just didn't wake up. 5 years old. Morning Dew hasn't been the same since. You see her sometimes, walking near the river by herself, staring at nothing. You want to talk to her, but what do you say? Sorry your brother died. Winter is terrible. Everyone's struggling. There aren't words for this kind of thing. The camp has lost 4 people this winter total: Singing Bird, Morning Dew's brother, an elder named Grey Wolf, and a young mother during childbirth. Her baby survived at least, being raised by her sister now. 4 out of 60, about 7%. According to Wintersong, that's actually good for a hard winter. Good, yeah. Your grandmother is getting quieter lately, more tired. She still does her work, still teaches, still maintains, but you can see it in her eyes. This winter has aged her. Are you okay? You ask her one evening. She looks at you with those sharp eyes. I'm alive. That's all that matters in February? Fair enough. The days drag, same routine. Gather fuel, ration food, repair things. Try not to think about how hungry you are. Your body adapts. You stop feeling hungry after a while. Just feel tired, heavy, like you're moving through water. But then one morning in late February, something changes. The wind shifts, comes from the south instead of the north, and it's warmer. Not warm exactly, but warmer. Maybe 20 degrees instead of -10. Chinook wind, your father says, stepping outside. Spring is coming. Everyone emerges from their teepees, feeling it. That shift, that promise. Winter's grip is loosening. Over the next week, the temperature keeps rising. The snow starts melting during the day, refreezing at night. The river ice begins to crack, making these deep booming sounds that echo through the valley. And then, one morning in early March, you hear it. A bird singing. You haven't heard a bird in 4 months. The sound is shocking, beautiful, like the world remembering how to be alive. Laughing water runs outside. Is that a bird? A real bird? Meadowlark, your grandmother says. She's smiling, actually smiling. They're coming back. Within days, the signs are everywhere. Water dripping from pine branches, patches of brown earth showing through the snow, animal tracks appearing, rabbits, deer, things that have been hiding all winter. The camp starts to stir with energy. People are talking about moving back to summer grounds, about hunting, about fresh meat that isn't dried or frozen, about life returning. Strong Trees calls a gathering. Everyone crowds around, and for the first time in months, people look hopeful instead of just grimly determined. We made it, he says simply. 60 of us went into winter. 56 came out. That's better than many years. 4 losses. 4 people who didn't make it, but 56 who did. In 2 weeks, we break camp, Strong Trees continues. Move back to spring grounds. The buffalo herds will return soon. We hunt. We rebuild our supplies. We live. Cheers. Actual cheers. People crying with relief. You look over at Morning Dew. She's not cheering, just standing there, face blank. After the gathering, you walk over to her. Hey, hey. Silence. Then, everyone's so happy. Yeah, my brother didn't make it to see spring. Her voice is flat, empty. You don't know what to say, so you just stand there with her. My grandmother told me, Morning Dew continues, that the ones who don't make it become part of the earth, feed the grass, feed the buffalo, come back as new life. You believe that? I don't know, but it's better than nothing. You stand there together, watching the camp celebrate. 2 16-year-olds who've seen too much death in one winter. Your grandmother is amazing, Morning Dew says after a while. She kept so many people alive with her knowledge. Yeah, she did. Will you learn everything she knows before she dies? Neither of you says it. I'm trying, you reply, but there's so much. Then you better pay attention, because someday it'll be your turn to be the one who knows things, your turn to keep people alive. She's right. That's how this works. Knowledge passes down, generation to generation, survival technique to survival technique. Winter song teaching you teaching your kids someday, them teaching theirs. Unbroken chain stretching back thousands of years. That night, your family has the best meal in months. Your father traded some furs for extra meat from a successful late winter hunt. Real food, hot food, enough of it. Your stomach isn't used to this much food anymore. You eat slowly, savoring every bite. This winter was hard, your mother says. But we're through it. Almost through it, Winter Song corrects. Spring brings its own dangers. Flooding, unstable ice, animals waking up hungry and aggressive. Don't get careless. Even in celebration, your grandmother is teaching. Always teaching. Laughing Water is already planning summer. Can I learn to ride a horse this year? And swim in the river? And help with the buffalo hunt? Maybe, your mother says, if you stop being annoying. I'm not annoying. You're literally annoying right now. Some things don't change, even when seasons do. The next 2 weeks are spent preparing for the move back, taking down the earthen berms, packing up supplies, getting ready to reassemble everything at spring grounds. But it's different this time. There's energy, hope, the sun is out, the temperature is above freezing during the day, and you can see spring coming. The river ice breaks up one afternoon with sounds like thunder, huge chunks of ice floating downstream, crashing into each other. The water beneath is dark and swift and alive. Winter's done, spring wins. The day before the move, you find Morning Dew sitting by the river, watching the ice flow past. You sit next to her, don't say anything at first. I keep thinking about all the things my brother won't see, she says finally. His first buffalo hunt, his first winter as a teenager, learning to make arrows, getting married, all of it, gone. But you're still here, and you'll remember him. Is that enough? It has to be. She looks at you. When did you get wise? I'm not wise. I'm just tired and copying what my grandmother says. She laughs. Actually laughs. First time you've heard that in months. We survived, little fox. Yeah, we did. Next winter will be easier because we know we can do it. Maybe. Or maybe next winter will be worse. You never know with winters on the Great Plains, but right now, sitting by a thawing river with someone you care about, watching spring arrive, you don't care about next winter, you made it through this one. That's enough. The move happens the next day. Same process as before, but in reverse. Break down the teepees, load the travoy, form the line, walk back to spring grounds. But this time, you're walking toward abundance instead of away from it. Toward green grass and warm days and buffalo herds and food that isn't just pemmican. The journey takes 2 days, same as the autumn journey. But everything feels different, lighter. Spring grounds are exactly as you left them. The grass is starting to green up. The air smells alive instead of frozen. Your family sets up the teepee in the familiar spot. This time, you don't need earthen berms or snow walls, just the hide covering and the pole framework. That first night back, sleeping in the teepee without all the winter insulation, you can actually hear the world outside. Wind in the new grass, night birds calling, the river flowing freely. It's almost too warm in your sleeping furs. You push off a layer, imagine that, too warm. After 4 months of never being warm enough, your grandmother is sitting by the fire working on something as always. You did well this winter, she says without looking up. I survived. More than that. You learned. You hunted. You helped your family and your community. You became a man this winter. Coming from Winter Song, that means everything. Teach me more, you say. Everything you know. I want to learn it all. She looks up, meets your eyes. Everything I know would take 10 winters to teach, but we'll start. Good. Tomorrow. Tonight, you rest. You earned it. You lie back down. Pull the furs up just enough. 56 people made it through. Your family intact. Your community wounded but surviving. Knowledge preserved and passed down. Winter threw everything at you. -40 temperatures, blizzards, hunger, death, isolation, darkness, and you're still here because people 500 years ago figured out that cattail fluff holds warmth, that grass creates air pockets, that buffalo hide becomes windproof when tanned correctly, that snow can insulate instead of freeze, because generations of grandmothers taught their grandchildren how to read the sky, how to layer clothing, how to bank a fire, how to ration supplies. Because community matters more than individual strength, because knowledge is survival, because persistence beats intensity every time. You close your eyes, feel the warmth of the fire, hear your family breathing softly around you. Spring is here, you made it. Unlike your soft bed right now with its perfect temperature control and endless comfort, you earned this rest through 4 months of constant struggle. But maybe that's the point. Maybe comfort has more meaning when you know what it took to survive without it. The fire burns low, your breathing slows, your body, pushed to its limits all winter, finally relaxes. Tomorrow brings new challenges, new lessons, new life. But tonight, you're warm, you're fed, you're alive. That's everything. Sleep comes easily now, like spring returning after a long, hard winter. Gentle, earned, peaceful. The knowledge lives on, the people continue. Spring always comes, always. Rest now.